Good evening, everybody, and welcome to your Friday Night Fools panel, where we are all set to preview Hartlepool, their visit to the CG on what is the double-header weekend with Swindon Town women playing at the county ground as well. Before we say hello to our esteemed panel, let's roll those titles.
Take my hand, take my whole life too, but I can't help falling in love with you.
I could see lots of swaying of arms in the lobby, so let's get the gents in for the evening. Let's start with BTB. Good evening, Ben.
Hello, Fyfie. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I am very well. Thank you for asking. You seem very chirpy this evening.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to tonight. Get our old friend back from lower league look, and yeah, it's gonna be all good. I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Good evening, Claire, there in the comments. Yes, it should be a good game tomorrow. There's going to be lots to talk about. Obviously, both sides in not necessarily the greatest form, so it'll be interesting, as you say, to hear what our guest has to say. But before we get him on, let's say hello to some more of the regulars, starting with Warren. Good evening, buddy.
Back for another Friday night. I enjoyed it a couple of weeks ago. It's what it's all about now.
Loving the Friday twice night. A week at the minute.
Wow, I know. I don't know how I'm doing this, but yeah.
Well, I know why you're doing it, and the reason that we're seeing you so regular is because of how much the bromance between yourself and Friday Night Joe. Good evening, buddy.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, well, the vice president of the Tom Clayton Club said he was coming on tonight, so I thought I'd better come on and support him.
Exactly, Joe.
How we going, boy? Good evening to the other Joe who has appeared in the conversation as well. Oh, Joe only got to say hello.
Where's the president gone?
It's okay, everyone. Joe's back.
Friday Night Joe.
Speaking of someone who is back, he deserted us, or for one night, to promote us on another pod. And what a fine example he was on OSC. But we are delighted to welcome back young Nicholas. Hello, sir.
Yeah, hiya, Fyfie. Yeah, glad to be back on the number one pod. Yeah, I did enjoy Monday night, but missed you guys. So yeah, really excited to be back tonight and looking forward to it.
Good, and we are delighted to have you back. Good evening to Stephen. Good way to spend a rainy Friday night watching the bearded men talk. Well, there is a strong beard game on Fools Rushing generally, but not everyone's sporting the solid beard. We do have one more regular fool to welcome. Good evening, Ned.
Good morrow.
How are you, sir?
I'm very well. It's nice to see Ben with a proper hoodie on instead of the crap that he had on waiting for it to start. And yeah, nice to see Friday Night Joe, aka Premature Joe, is back to his old nickname again.
Premature Joe.
Those were the days.
Good evening, Philip, there in the chat as well. Reminder that Facebook and YouTube comments are all shown live and we can flash them up on the screen. If you are watching along on Twitter and you do post anything, I do have a separate screen up and I will be relaying your messages because StreamYard, for whatever reason, doesn't seem to like them. But we have a special guest tonight. It's not all Swindon Town. Hartlepool are represented as well. For those not familiar, you've heard us mention the lower league look before. Liam is familiar to those who have been watching and listening to us for a long time, but a man who made his debut in the pre-season Friends of Fools prediction is back, and we're delighted to say good evening, Ram.
Good evening, boys. How you doing?
Very, very well indeed.
I was sitting there going, I'm going to come on and start singing I Can't Help Falling in Love with You, but then I thought, no, I'm not going to deafen everyone. So I started, cheers, everyone. How's it going, everyone?
We are delighted to have you back. Before
Good to be back.
Before we get into the main crux of tonight's thing and previewing tomorrow's game. Mentioned lower league look there, but you announced on the League 2 606 last weekend that you and Liam also have a new project starting up, which you'll be leaving us halfway through this episode to go and carry on. But please tell those watching and those that will be listening back afterwards a little bit about that and where they can find you.
Yes, so we are recording a pilot episode tonight for our new weekly podcast. It's going to be called Two Hats Talking. If you do it in a broad Yorkshire accent, then you will get twats talking. I'm going to constantly be just pretending I don't know what it means anyway on the podcast. I'm just going to keep that facade going. I don't have a clue what it means. So yeah, we're recording that tonight. It's in partnership with Andy's Man's Club. So it's really just going to be a bunch of guys talking complete nonsense. And just having different funny topics each week to talk about. It's something a little bit different for us to do. I'm really excited to run for it. We have got a Twitter page up and run at Two Hats. And yeah, we'll get everything up on that Twitter page. It'll be up on Spotify, all your usual podcasts. And we'll also plug it through Lower League Look as well if you guys follow us there. So yeah, really, really excited to start recording that. Sorry to leave you guys a little bit earlier than I wanted to, but
that's fine. We appreciate in this where
really excited to be here.
In this era where news is constantly evolving, you never know what's around the corner, who's going to be appearing where or leaving where. We appreciate whatever time you can give us. So let's crack straight on with the action and let's discuss the game that we have at the weekend. And let's let the guests start first. Needless to say, Hartlepool probably aren't in the best of form going into it. How have you rated your start to the season?
Shite. As to put it in a word, it's not been good at all. I thought we would have been doing a lot better than we would have been. At the start of this season, I had this kind of mid-table, but it has been well documented that our squad has been filled with inexperienced players who aren't good enough to play in this league, and through Paul Hartley's poor recruitment. This has been even more well documented on Tuesday night in our game against Everton under 21s in the Pizza Cup. Keith Curl made a statement in that game. He played a team full of Paul Hartley signings, and he came out and absolutely damned that squad after the game, saying that a lot of these players will go on a journey. Some of their journeys will be with me. A lot of them will go on a completely different journey, and that will not be on a journey with me, whether they are at the club. They might be for contractual reasons, but they will not be going on my journey. And it really does show that team that played isn't good enough to compete in the league.
I mean, that's quite a damning verdict. A lot of fans of clubs, particularly when they're down the bottom at this stage of the season, they'll say our performances have maybe warranted a few more points. Would you say that was the case of Hartlepool, or is it as bad as that verdict suggests?
Do you know what? There is a few games where we have deserved things out of it. I look at the Doncaster game as a key. We won that 2-1. We deserved everything in that game. We outplayed Doncaster. Doncaster weren't a good team. I haven't heard anyone say Doncaster's a good team this season. We've said that before. And many teams will say it again. It was the same against Tranmere. I felt we deserved something out of the Tranmere game. We drew that 0-0. Same with Gillingham. That was 0-0. We deserved something out of that. So we've had a few draws where I feel that we could have got something out of it. And we do have a threat up front. We've got Josh Umera up front, who's one of the top goal scorers in the league. And him playing to the capability of scoring the goals that he is in a team as poor that we have been is amazing what he's done so far.
But that's not the only threat you've got up front. Let me just flash this comment up from Claire again, because we'll let you have your say, and then Ned will be itching to get involved.
Theo. Yeah, he always seems to do well against you guys, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Always. I think that's the one good game he can have for us, and then he can just go back to being pants again. This City's not filled me with confidence in his signing, but he brings something else to the team that we've not had. And if him and Umera can bring up a partnership up front, Umera's not had that partnership with someone. Keith Curle likes to play a 3-5-2. And if he's got someone to play off him and give him that service, then great. I don't care if Theo gets the goals, if it helps Umera get more goals, as long as it helps us drive up the table and they're doing well, I'm happy.
Go on then, Ned. Get involved. Theo Robinson.
To be honest, Theo Robinson wasn't my gripe player. But to be honest, Theo Robinson's, as far as I read the situation, he's come in to replace my gripe player, which was Omar Bogle. So that's an astute replacement.
I wouldn't say he's the one that replaced Omar Bogle. I'd say Umera is your direct replacement for Omar Bogle.
See, I don't know anything about Umera.
So he was Wealdstone's top goal scorer last season. I think he scored 17 in the National League last season.
Did you sign him because they've got no fans?
Apart from the Wealdstone Raider. He maybe scared them away. But no, we got him from Wealdstone, and he said straight away in his interview, like, what do you want to achieve this season? He's like, I want to score between 10 and 20 goals this season. And everyone's like, well, if you're scoring 10 and 20 goals, we are a happy fan base with you doing it. I think he's on 7 just now in the league. And yeah, so happy with his performance. Big, strong, hold-up striker. The only player that I can describe him to other people to go, this is a well-known player, you'll know. He reminds me of a League Two Drogba. Apart from the diving. He doesn't do the dive. He's just a big, strong hold-up player. He's got a great finish on him. And I rate him so highly. I always say he's the most underrated striker in our league. Even though he's sitting 4th top goal scorer, he's phenomenal.
So
he is the day.
Is he going to be joining Swindon in January? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. No. I think we will see outgoings in January, but he will not be an outgoing player at all. Unless he's come in with money, then Raj Singh will go, yes, please, and he will line his pockets because he loves to line his pockets.
Let's give Grant's voice a little rest then and see what you guys think ahead of the game. Wazza, I'll start with you. It's been we had form at the very beginning of the season where between us we would disagree, we would debate, and we would not get to any sort of conclusion. Then we sort of started to build up that momentum that we spoke about and picked up a few results. It's got a bit patchy again of late. So are you confident or are you a little bit concerned?
I'm a little bit concerned tomorrow. I think Hartlepool could be a bigger threat than what Newport and Colchester have offered in the 2 games that we've had at home recently. I think a bit from the way Grant's describing this Umera, it's someone that our defence is going to hate. They're not going to want to come up against a big lad like this that is going to get in and around them and make it difficult. But like I've always said with us, is that if we implement how we play, which we've started to do in games, I think we'll give Hartlepool more to think about than they'll give us to think about. But the key will be that if we don't give away silly free kicks and silly set pieces, and we've been through this, haven't we, with other games when we were talking about Colchester and we were talking about other teams that we've come up against. So it's how we play. We're at home, we're the home side, we need to take it to them. We've got to win these home games. If we need to be at the top end of the league and we want to be, we've got to beat teams like this. No disrespect. It's just we've got to win the game. It doesn't matter how we do it. But they could be a threat. And we didn't see much of Colchester and Newport. They didn't really. And if we give that Umera a chance, like Bowdry was gifting Newport a chance with a dodgy back pass, and he gave Newble a chance against Colchester. If he gives this Umera a chance, by the way Grant's talking, he's going to put it away. So, and we haven't been scoring many goals, so it could be a real tight game again.
Well, can I just comment on the pop up there from Sean that came up?
Yeah, I can.
Like he said, I think he mentioned he just popped up. Sorry to interrupt you, man. He was just saying about us playing 3-5-2. probably won't be playing 3 at the back this weekend. Because Roland Menezes is still injured, so we will likely play a back 4, and we will have Murray and Lacey as the 2 centre backs, which fills me with fucking dread. Because we have 3 centre backs.
And one of them's injured.
One of them's injured, and we play a 3 centre back system.
We had that lad on loan, didn't we? That many.
Awful.
He wasn't very good. He was at Walsall last season, and we shipped 8 against us.
And do you know what? He done really well at Walsall when he started. When he started there on loan, he started well, and then
he was there under Matty Taylor, wasn't he?
Yeah. Flynn came in and he just fell out of favour under Flynn, and then we've got him on loan for this season, and he's looked really good. Our defence looks so much more confident when he's played. So much more confident.
Nick Wazza made a good point. Obviously, if you're winning every game 1-0, you'll take it. But the key phrase I think is possession doesn't win you points, and the thing Wazza said is we're not scoring that many goals at the moment. Is that a concern for you?
Yeah, 100%. It's the same old story. We say it every week. We need to score early. In that first 15 minutes, if we get a goal then I can see us hitting 2-3, maybe even more. But it's that first 15 minutes are going to be critical. And again, the longer it goes on, and if we're hanging on at 0-0 or maybe a 1-0, it's always a worry. And our friend Theo, there's only 2 good things about him. One, for whatever reason, my daughter's called her son Theo. But I think it's a great football player's name because we can go Theo. So it's a real good footballer's name. I just hope the hell he doesn't score on Saturday because that will just do me in. So,
if he does it, he'll top off. Flex.
Yeah, it'll be the worst. Yeah. Oh, jeez, you just dread it, don't you? But yeah, it's that first 15 minutes is critical for us. If we play on the front foot and, like we said, move it fast, move it forward, get balls in the box, we'll be okay. If we don't do that, we'll probably struggle.
Joe, we were briefly mentioning there how Hartlepool might set up. Do you see a change in system for Swindon potentially? I mean, we've been saying for a few games now about playing Jeffcott and Wakeling as a 2 up top and maybe altering the system.
Personally, I'd like to see that he does, but I don't think he will. I think we got 2 or 3 players playing out of position at the moment, in my opinion. Wakeling, Williams. Wakeling's best position isn't out on the right. It's got to be as a centre through the middle. Williams, as good as he's been, I think he has been good this season, but I don't think that's his best position on the left either. So, it's for me, I'd like to see 2 up top somehow. Whether that means going to a back 3 or a diamond or something, but I think Jeffcott looks like he's struggling a bit on his own up front, and just needs a partner there to do some of the running for him.
Yep. No, that certainly makes sense to me. With regards to the other options, Ned, there's obviously been some concern about Reed of late, not starting, being on the bench but not coming on. Can Gladwin play that role? Can Khan play that role? How crucial is it that we get, if we do stick with the same formation, we get that midfield 3 right tomorrow?
I mean, it is massive. I can't. There's obviously a reason why Reedy isn't in the team at the moment, and I think it's possibly more than just, reasons for on the pitch. I think there's possibly something else on the go that we don't know about. But it's essential. Certainly when earlier this season and last, if Reedy's in that position, he does so much. He does so much. Granted, he hasn't been in fine fettle, shall we say, but he does so much, and it's just this is where we've lacked. And I think if we can control the middle, then we with all due respect, Grant, I think we're gonna, possibly look at more of a cricket score. But as Nick said, it's all about that early goal. If if we're going into the second half, we're still 0-0 or possibly worse, then you just got that feeling that. Well, do you know what? I say that, but your confidence in Menezes tells me that your other two centre backs must be fucking rubbish.
Murray and Lacey aren't great, to be honest with you. Games that we've played a back four. So if I'm looking back on our results, ones that really notably stand out for me, we played. Was it Bradford we played from back four? Our first few games we played a back four, and I was like, never ever do it again. Then we moved to a back three or back five, however we want to look at it. We've done well.
Actually, I remember you saying that because
Walsall we get smashed 4-0. Yeah, Walsall we get smashed 4-0. Blackburn we get smashed 4-0. Bradford we get beat 3-1. Orient we played a back four, we get beat 4-2. I don't like that system for us at all, and I do think it'll be the system that we play tomorrow. I think we have to. I'm hoping that Nicky Featherstone's going to feature at some point during the game. He'll probably be in the bench. He's coming back from injury to steady the ship. But we'll see a different midfield to what we've seen on Tuesday as much as we can. I think we'll see Mark Shelton playing. I think we'll see Mo Silla in as well, or the centre, one of the two of them. And they do hold the line okay. But I think we'll see two defensive midfielders in front of that defence to try and help them out as much as possible. We will have Ferguson and Sterry back in at full-backs, who I think are phenomenal full-backs. But our two centre-backs just fill me with fear. That's two. Everyone was saying we need a striker. Everyone was like, you need striker. I was like, no, we need 2 to 3 centre-backs.
Before we unleash
Sterry's good, though, yeah.
Before we unleash our not-so-secret weapon to intimidate you, Grant, in Ben, we have had a couple of messages in for you. Firstly, you might know this particular account.
Fuck off, Leo.
But more importantly, we have had a question sent in for you. The panelists saying we have to watch out for Theo. Is there a Swindon player that sticks out for you to watch out for?
Who is to look out for me? Do you know who I'm going to go on? The lad that Liam's been going on about all season. Darcy. And do you know what? I think Jeff Cott's one to look out for as well. He's been doing all right.
Okay. Now, I appreciate Liam's there and he's waiting for you. So we'll fly round.
Do you know what he's doing? He's streaming this into
probably
the other StreamYard, and just so everyone else can watch it in there. So they're probably all pissing.
Fans.
Hello, Two Hats Talking.
Indeed. We will fly round and ask everyone's predictions, and we have been sent in a little Swindon Town v Hartlepool quiz. So if you need to shoot, I will ask the guys alone, but if you've got an extra 5 minutes or so, then you're more than welcome to take part.
I'll go quickly on it, yeah.
Nice. Okay. Before we do then, Ben, tell Grant why he should be scared of Swindon, and then give us your score prediction, please.
Okay. I think I've just had a look. They've conceded 17 goals in 7 away games this season, which is more than anyone else in this season. I'm actually just quite keen to know how they're going to stay out tomorrow, which I wanted to ask Grant about. Because if they try and shithouse, so Swindon are notoriously bad at attacking teams who try and shithouse us at the county ground. Have they got the defence that can last out 90 minutes, or are we just going to score? And if they are going to give chance away, are you actually going to have a go at us? Because even if you have a go at us, then you're playing into Swindon's hands, because we want you to come at us, because that gives us the gaps between the defence and midfield. So you're in a really, in my opinion, a shitty stick or twist position where you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. And that's why I'm going to scare you.
I mean, I go into every game. I go into every single game scared. I didn't go into Northampton scared. Actually, not Northampton. Doncaster scared. I know we're going to beat them.
How are you against footballing sides? Do you prefer playing against big shithouse teams, or do you find footballing teams?
I don't like playing against anyone this season. Jesus, we're not going to go out and shithouse you. We are going to. I think we will go out and try and attack.
Good game.
Go on then, Ben. A score prediction, please, Ben.
3-0 Swindon.
Was it?
2-1 Swindon.
Nick?
I was going to say 3-0, but rather than be boring and totally agree with Ben, I'll go 4-0.
Fuck off. 4-0. I'm not saying. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Not after what happened with Dad says the other day. Jesus Christ, no. Do you know what? I'm going to draw.
Okay. 0-0 or a score draw?
Score draw. There's no way. There's no way we're keeping a clean sheet and Umera scoring.
Okay. Ned?
Okay, so if Chewy's watching, then you're just a shit Rockin' Robin. I just want to say that very quickly. And also, I have had to change my score from 5-0 to 5-1. There we go.
I quite like this when it's just Fyfie and Ben. God. Who are these two? 4 and 5.
Is the same keeper playing that played on Tuesday?
No. Jesus Christ. Did you see that? Did you see what Kyle Leathering conceded?
Yeah, I saw that.
Rolled through his legs.
For his legs, yeah.
Right. He's built like a loaf of bread. Right. Honestly, I'm fitter than him. And he's our goalkeeping coach as well.
Oh, is he?
He's fucking... So he was Morecambe's first team keeper last season. So it's no wonder they were down where they were. Honest to God, he is woeful. I seen him and I was like, oh God, I put you to shame, mate. No, it'll be Ben Killip back in goals, thankfully, and he's a great goalkeeper. I really like Ben Killip. Dodgy hairdo. I can't say anything. But he's a brilliant keeper.
Does Joe, did we actually get as far as you giving your score prediction there?
No, we haven't done Joe yet.
No.
I'm struggling with connection here, so I'm a bit in between. But I can actually see a draw. I think Hartlepool will get a point off us.
I like it.
Okay. So our good friend of the show, John, has been busy, as he always is, to create questions to amuse the viewers and listeners and bamboozle the panel. And he has worked hard in honour of Grant being here. He sent me in 3 questions based on the history of Swindon Town versus Hartlepool. Let's see how you get on. It's it's a team game. You're not against each other. There's no bragging rights. Let's just see if we can get the answers. So question number 1. In November 2001, we played Hartlepool in the only time that we've ever been drawn together in the FA Cup. But who was the unusual penalty goal scorer for Swindon? Does anyone remember the FA Cup game from 2001? Swindon got
they just go full Crawley Town and get a YouTuber to play. Was it Mark Wright?
No, it certainly was not Mark Wright. In fact, with the answer in front of me, I can assure you, you couldn't get someone more different than Mark Wright than being the answer to this question.
Vinnie Jones.
No, not Vinnie Jones or Van der Linden, no. I'll give you a clue. In a similar way to me, he was massive.
Neil Leathering.
Neil Ruddock is the correct answer.
Ruddock scored on.
Wanker.
Did you just call a Swindon Town goal scorer a wanker?
Yep. Ruddock was
and yet you called me out when I ripped Shane to pieces.
There's one player I hated. It is Ruddock. Sorry. Money grabbing bastard.
Question number 2. According to, and I'll be honest, I've not fact checked this, but I do trust John because even when he gets called out, he's right more than he's wrong. Hartlepool have not beaten Swindon in the last 7 meetings, but did beat us. But the last time they did win, we were at home. What year was it, and what was the score?
Probably
so
something to do with Andy Monkhouse.
we were in the National League for 4 years.
It's got to be like noughties, late noughties. Sonic Cox. 1-0.
We've got.
Would it be 2006?
We just also had a 2006 prediction, but that is incorrect.
2005 then?
Nope.
No.
2007.
Nope.
Let's just do each year. 2008.
Oh.
What's next, Ben?
2009.
2009 was correct. Yeah.
The point of when we stop.
Do you remember the score? No? Hartlepool ran out 2-0 winners that day.
Oh.
Now, who's the historian amongst you?
I was going to say, who were the scorers in that game?
Well, I'm sure you will have that. You're very good at fact checking. You will have that answer for yourself.
Monkhouse would have been
Monkhouse is probably among them.
Yeah,
it would have been Monkhouse.
Maybe.
For sure.
Question number 3. Swindon Town have played Hartlepool 31 times, but can you guess what the win to draw to loss ratio is? Now, this is written from a Swindon perspective. Ben, 30. I appreciate some of you maths isn't your strong point, but you're looking for 3 numbers that add up to 31 here. What is the win draw to loss ratio, Ben?
Swindon wins are 35%. Draws are going to be 20%, so 45% Hartlepool win if we've done so badly. No, 30, 35 and 20. 35%.
Oh, this is horrible to watch.
Right, so
35,
first, that's not the metric that I said we're using, and second, no, you're wrong. Was it?
It's horrible.
I'm so bad at stuff like this. I wouldn't have a Scooby.
30% draws. 35, 30.
So at least another Ben has got the right idea in terms of metric. So he's predicting here 16 wins, 9 draws, 6 defeats. Although I'm not sure the maths there is right either.
How many games?
Go on,
31.
Put us out our misery.
So whatever it needs to add up to 31.
Go on, Nick, do you want to have a go?
I've got 16, 10, 5.
Oh, very, very close. Grant, do you want to have a go?
No.
No.
My math is worse than that.
Ned,
No.
Joe?
I've got 15, 11, 6.
You've got one of them correct.
Oh.
Joe?
Sorry.
15, 10, 7.
0 correct.
Right, not Joe.
I'm not sure if Joe's thinking or he's frozen.
I think.
Goal scorers in that game.
He's moving.
Where?
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he's gone.
The answer to that
14.
question. He's back.
Oh.
Joe,
Hello.
can you hear it? What's your prediction?
Are we still on the win draw losses?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm trying to just make sure I get the math right.
31.
And it goes 16, 8 and 7, something like that.
The correct answer is Swindon Town have 13 wins, 12 draws, and 6 defeats. Not a bad record at all. And yes, apologies to the other Ben. Your maths was correct. That at least did add up to 31. So there you go.
In that game, Wire, Andy Monkhouse,
Fucking knew it would be Monkhouse.
and James Brown.
Oh, I remember that. 'Cause he used to play. I feel good.
What a player he was. He was a great player. I'm sadly done by 2 cruciate knee injuries. His knees were done. I'm done it in a pre-season game against Hibs, and then he was never the same since. He was a cracking player.
Jeff loved him. He used to have a little goal every time he scored to bring up.
I tell you what, Bloomin', if you stick, Andy Monkhouse, even now at his old age, if you still stick him in that top, that first 11, he'll still score.
Monkhouse he was guaranteed a goal against us every time.
Good player, wasn't he? I liked him.
And Alex Ravel used to always score against us. Alex Ravel and Monkhouse. Oh.
Well, while you guys go on this trip down memory lane, I would like to thank Grant for his time this evening. It's very much appreciated. Good luck with the new
Thank you.
podcast.
No, guys, thank you very much.
And of course, you can catch him on the new podcast, which we'll be posting stuff out for. You can also hear more from Grant on Lower League Look, primarily on their flagship 606 shows, Sunday from 7, generally.
Sundays. Every Sunday, there's a match weekend, 7 o'clock. Come and join us. It's good fun. I've seen a few people pop up in the comments.
Fixtures.
Yes, midweek fixtures, Wednesday, 7 o'clock. I've seen a few regular names popping up in the comments here who come on, but anyone else who's not checked out, come and have a listen. Come on, join in, speak. It's always good. It'd be good to hear some other Swindon fans' perspectives as well in the games. I'm not saying anything that I don't want to hear from you guys. I love hearing from you guys. But it's good to hear more voices on the 606 as always. But no, thanks for having us on.
Thanks for your time, Grant. Good luck with your
Cheers, buddy. Catch you later on, guys. Bye-bye.
So we've all had our say there on the game coming up. But shall we, or do we even dare have our say on what actually happened midweek? I mean, needless to say, playing any game with 9 men is going to be difficult. But what did we make of it? Joe, if I remember rightly, you were there?
Yeah, unfortunately.
What was your overriding thoughts at full time?
Do you know what? I think we did all right. And until the second red card, we were doing all right. I think, in my view now, Kieran Brennan probably ain't going to play for Swindon again. I think.
Right, fair enough.
Honestly, the first challenge was just stupid. The second challenge, right on the edge of the box, you're on a booking. What are you doing? Just, Harry's was there to win the ball, and Brennan's taking Harry's and the Bristol Rovers player out. So, yeah, it was a strange one. Ricky Aguiar's one. I haven't seen anything to convince me that it wasn't a red card yet. That it was a red card, sorry. I didn't think it was at the time, and I haven't seen anything to convince me.
He just sort of fell over.
Yeah, it was, to me, it was similar to the Khan one against Stevenage, was it? Whoever it was. Sort of got tackled and landed on the Bristol Rovers player, but I haven't seen anything that insinuates that he stamped or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, the referee gave them every 50-50, didn't give us anything. At one point, Adeloy got absolutely, nearly close.
Oh, I'm gutted that Joe's internet's just that's possibly the nicest thing anyone can say about
Adeloy. They battled well with 9. Do you know what? They battled well with 9 men, to be fair. But Rovers brought on some good players second half, some of their first team players, and yeah, they were too strong for us in the end.
It was fascinating listening back to the Low Strangers review the other day and what their thoughts were. They were pretty damning about a number of players. So let's just go through some of them and see what we think. Nick, from your perspective, was there any positives to take from the game?
I think the positives were that the players that were left on the pitch obviously battled and did as much as they could effort-wise. It seems from the reports, Lavinia and Ellis both had decent games. It was just such a shame that we couldn't get players to give a proper full 90-minute run out. Like, you want to see the likes of Parsons to see what he could do over 90 minutes. Aguiar, you wanted to see what he could do over 90 minutes. We know what a good player he is, but 90 minutes is vital to get up to sort of match speed. So it was just a shame that we had 2 players sent off in a game that meant absolutely nothing. And I don't know what it is with that bloody competition that we end up getting players sent off. It's crazy. So there were a couple of positives. I think the team showed that, they did all they could. The players that were left on the pitch and battled really hard, and that's got to be good for us going forward. But I say it's just a shame that players missed out on getting a full 90 minutes performances at 11 aside.
And that's a crucial point, that really, isn't it, Wazza? Because ultimately, whenever a player steps out on the pitch, they're going to be judged by fans. But when you look through that team, I mean, you've got, Brennan's not got any plaudits for what happened at all. But you've got Harry's, who, I'm going to be biased for. Some people slated his performance. Others said he wasn't actually that bad. But he's not been playing regular. You've got Adeloy coming off the bench. And I saw a few people slate his performance. Again, I'm going to be biased because I think he's got potential to be a real good player. How can you slag off a player who hasn't played for so much time and he comes on when he's playing in 9 men against 11? It's just ridiculous. There are a number of other examples of players who, they haven't been playing. It's not like if that was our first team, our starting team, then yes, I could understand it. But in a competition, yes, every game you go in to win. I say that all the time. But in a competition where we're already out, there's nothing riding on it other than local bragging rights, and we're playing largely a team of players who aren't playing regular football, you'd expect it to be a bit disjointed, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Fyfie, with that. If we didn't want to play for this competition anyway, that game was even more so, because we couldn't even have no chance of even progressing in the competition. And it was just an absolute nothing game for me. It was just, I've always looked at the competition as that you give your fringe players minutes, you get some game time in their legs. But when you go down to 9 men, your game plan goes completely out the window. You know what I mean? 10 men, you can sort of manage it. You can do little tweaks, but 9 men, you lose so much. You can't press. You can't go to certain areas of the pitch. It just makes it very disjointed, like you said, and very difficult to deal with, because you can't play your football. You're literally just defending for a second half. It was literally probably attack versus defense in that second half, and we managed to do all right, but eventually tiredness kicks in where these lads haven't played football. A lot of football, and they just broke us down. I agree with what Joe said. I think it was probably quite encouraging that Bristol Rovers didn't score till the 63rd minute, I think it was. So, we held off, for the majority of the first half, losing a man early, and then for part of the second half being down to 9 men, which I think is encouraging. I don't think it's fair to criticise these players. I think they're fringe players. They're pushing to get into the first team or the squad. I think there's got to be some promising signs. The result, it just doesn't matter to me. I just really don't care. The competition's never been on the top of my list, and it will not be. But look, get some minutes in the legs. I don't think the players will be too down about it, to be perfectly honest. I just don't. It's one of those. And we'll move on to Saturday. Get some players running. It's good to see Adeloy back. I think your point about Adeloy, we haven't seen enough of him to anyone to make an opinion on Adeloy. We've not seen enough. You know what I mean? And I just cannot see how people can criticise. And I'm hoping that I read his interview that he did the press conference as the player. And he was saying he feels back, fitter, stronger than he's ever been, which, he could just be saying that. But, hopefully this is a good sign, because I think we need someone like him, because he's a different dimension to some of the strikers we've got. Wakelin and Jephcott are these, finish a chance, get the ball at their feet and work. And I feel like Adeloy could be that physical presence that we need in some of the games coming up that we've got. Bradford away, Mansfield away. Players, when you need someone to hold the ball up and bring other people into play, and people can't judge him because we haven't seen enough of that. So, hopefully he's going to get his chance in the next few weeks, whether it's coming off the bench or maybe even starting a game. But I'm not one of those that criticises these fringe players because they haven't had enough game minutes, and you can't replicate that at training. You can't do an 11 aside against 11 and go, this is game minutes, because it isn't. Let's see how we go. But it doesn't worry me at all about Tuesday's result.
you see things with Adloy as well, because he's not been fit all season. He's been injured basically since the first game. We don't have a player like him, a big, strong builder, hold-up player. He might end up very well. Fully fit Adloy might be like that Hartlepool striker that's banging him in at the minute.
Yeah.
We don't know yet. He's not had a run of games and he's not had a chance really. So, maybe, we could just throw him in for a couple coming off the bench. Maybe he'd be great foil for someone like Jeff Cott to work off.
I think we're going back to what we were discussing with the Hartlepool game, and sorry if we're going backwards here, but where Joe was saying about whether we go back to 3-5-2, I think Adloy could be a big part of that. If I don't think it'll happen yet, because I think Lindsay will be thinking, look, we've been winning games with a back four, but if we do have to change the system, I don't know if Jeff Cott and Wakeling would work together. I don't think it would be the correct balance. I feel like you need that poacher and that worker, and I feel Jeff Cott and Wakeling are both for that. I think Adloy could be the difference. Do you know what I mean? I think he could be that number two. I think he will need a partner alongside him, Adloy. He's not going to be someone that will go on at the top end of the pitch on his own. I think he needs someone to work off him. And I think that would make a difference. But no, I agree, Ben. We just need to give him a chance.
Ben, final point on the midweek game is if there can be a frustration, given what we said, is it that in spite of everything, nobody really took the opportunity to shine, even in adversity? No one's really come out of that and you thought, I'd really like them to be starting.
Well, there is one player that actually came out with a lot of credit, and that was Lavinia. Anyone who watched the game, I didn't watch the game, so I can't speak firsthand, said that he was fantastic, and perhaps maybe he should get a chance ahead of Hutton. I think someone said, maybe another podcast, that you don't have a Merc and keep it in the garage, and maybe he should get a start. So I think he did all right, but no, we actually started the game all right, but the sending offs ruined it. And it's a shame. It's a shame with the players that did get sent off, because especially Aguilar, I think he got sending off will cost him a start on the weekend, because I think he was lining up for a start ahead of Darcy. But I think Darcy might get another ahead of him just because he got sent off, and Darcy got to get some more minutes under him. I don't know. I don't know, but it was a shame what happened, because the team actually was quite interesting. I'd like to see how that team would have done, because that actually was a half decent team. But really, it doesn't really matter. It's done. It's over. It's forget about it. Concentrate on the league and the FA Cup. Just play a proper FA Cup team.
Is this true, Ned?
I will say something about Adloy.
But I will. Go on, Ned.
I just have my moment on the Bristol Rovers game first.
Mm-hmm.
I think generally, I think we're being incredibly harsh on the Swindon players. In that Bristol Rovers game, I thought we more or less controlled the first half. I thought up until the second sending off. Even with 10 men, I still think we outplayed and outbattled Bristol Rovers. That's what I genuinely thought. I thought, we're actually, some of the fringe players are playing incredibly well. I mean, Aguilar looked good until obviously he got sent off. Parsons, I'm sorry. I just don't see it with Parsons. There's nothing about his game which I think, do you know what, we need that. I can't fathom what position he's going to be best in. I just can't work him out. I'm sorry, but he needs to do a Scott Twine and go on loan somewhere, and then all of a sudden be awesome. that'll be wonderful. I mean, as Ben said, Lavinia, he looked absolutely brilliant. He was definitely the man of the match. The only problem is Hutton, I think, will be really good against Hartlepool, because I quite fancy him doing a few of his long throws in the box, considering how shaky the two centre-backs are. I think that would be a really good tool to use against Hartlepool. But, Lavinia is certainly knocking on that door as far as I'm concerned. And as I said in the chat all the way through the game, I thought Shade had a really good game as well. But that's just me.
We said all along that it's shaping up for Shade to assist Adeloyd for the winner against Bradford on Tuesday.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll be on the pitch. I don't care about the fine.
Just with regards to Adeloyd, because I haven't actually said anything about Adeloyd yet. It's, listen to his interview. He really does genuinely sound like a really nice guy. So I do feel a bit bad about my horrific piss taking of how rubbish that he's been so far. But knowing that he's been playing injured, I really hope he does well. I really hope he does well. I haven't, given up complete faith. I mean, I haven't seen, like Parsons, I haven't seen anything out of him which gives me any credit, give me any confidence that he's going to be any good. I mean, there might be one or two instances of his using his body to hold up the play, but you can't win a header in the air, obviously in the air. Otherwise, that would be using your feet. But I just I've nothing from him aerially. So what's he going to be used for if he's no good in the air?
I think the problem is though, Ned, is with all these fringe players, they don't get enough game time, and unless you're playing competitive football for 90 minutes, coming on as a 10-15 minute sub is bloody hard. And that's the trouble with no reserve side. If the club want to move forward, at some stage, we call it an under 23 side, or like Brentford do. I think their reserve stroke, fringe players play competitive games, and that's what we've got to do, because it's not fair on those players that are trying to break into that first team. And that's the problem we've got at the moment.
That is a very, very valid point, and something that I believe it was Low Strangers that they spoke about, and what I wanted to bring up with you guys, because based on what Wazza was saying and how I followed it up, and then what Nick said there, getting these players game time, whether it's the likes of Adeloy and Yandolo getting the match fit again, or whether it's some of the younger players getting some game time. Parsons has had his loan terminated. He's back at the club, but he's not been brought back because he's in excellent form and going to be challenging the first team. So you worry about what game time he's going to be getting. So there does need to be, they were saying, and even if it was just that, once every 3 weeks, there was a game for these sorts of players, the younger players and some of the first teamers who aren't seeing regular action, to go and get some game time. It would be beneficial all round.
I know it's harsh, but we've had this same conversation ever since this pod started about, players, we need to give them game time, give them a chance. But, let's be honest, if, all these players that we keep saying give them game time, if we stuck them in against Hartlepool and we didn't win, then we're going to be fucking livid, aren't we?
Again, that's the problem. You're throwing these players in cold.
But, it's the same for every team. It's the same for every team in our division. It's all well and good saying about Brentford, but they're in the Premier League making 23-odd million pounds a year.
And now?
But there's no chance that we're going to be spending, whatever. What was the amount that you quoted? It's like £1 million to set up an under 23s team or something, wasn't it? That was the number that you quoted.
What's the issue with arranging, say, every 2 to 3 weeks we play Birmingham City's under 23s, or we play such and such Watford's under 23s, local teams?
That's the compromise, isn't it? That's the compromise. It should be arranging games just to try and get people to have a bit of something. But we're not the only team to have this, and we just need to cope. We need to deal with it. We need to cope with it. We can't just. Do you know what I mean? It's not a problem which is exclusive to Swindon.
No, not
other teams deal with it, so we need to be able to deal with it. And I think, if you look at the times that players have had over the season so far, Adloy's had over 100 minutes so far. I know it's been in 10-minute increments here, 60 minutes there, another 10 minutes here, but come on, you've got to be able to show something at some point. Do you know what I mean? I mean, how did people do it before? By little sections here and there. You need to show something at some point, but we're not going to get an under-23s league, so let's rule that out of the conversation completely. We need to get, maybe some friendlies and stuff set up, or play them in youth team games or something. Something needs to happen. They need, as you say, they need to get minutes, but that's the only way it's going to happen.
I think it's hard to duplicate like an atmosphere, like playing for 3 points on a Saturday or a Tuesday when you play. You can't replicate that in a reserve game. It's very like get the ball, play very slower tempo. Do you know what I mean? The manager can be trying to implement it as much as you possibly can on the sidelines in a reserve game, but it's just not the same. I think the best thing for these fringe players is to go out on loan and play games. Now, it doesn't matter what level they play at. It doesn't matter if it's Chippenham Town, Swindon Supermarine. It doesn't matter, because you're playing on that Saturday for 3 points. So you're in a side that are wanting to win games, trying to play for their fans. You know what I mean? And that's why I think I don't get it with these sometimes when loanees turn up at clubs and they don't want to, you know what I mean? Because it's a benefit for them. They're trying to play and get some games into them. And they're also playing for a club, and they're also being watched by their team, their parent club, hoping, you know what I mean, that they're going to get called back with an opportunity to play for their side. So, yeah, I don't like the idea of reserve football. I don't think it's the right way to go. I think get players out on loan if you can. You know what I mean? You've got to get them out on loan and keep them out on loan. I don't understand the point of why Parsons has been brought back. I really don't get it, unless they've got another club lined up, or because he's not going to get anywhere near our side, I don't think, at the moment. No. But he's a young lad, and I'd like to be proved wrong. But the only way he's going to improve is to go out and play games. And I liked how Swindon did it last year, going on to last season, is that we sent players out on loan, but we had them back training with us 2 times a week. I think that's a massive thing, because you're getting them out to go and play their games and experience and getting that game time. And then they're coming back and working with the first team again, you know what I mean, which helps them improve naturally. So, you know what I mean? I think that is the solution to the problem. Because there's local teams all around Swindon, you know what I mean, that you could go and offer these young lads game time. And, you know what I mean, even the likes of Harry's and, you know what I mean, even though they're part of the squad at the moment, and I think he will, like Joe said, that if Brennan's not going to play anymore, Harris has moved right up again. He's gone up another, you know.
Actually, I think Minton. Did we see something earlier that Minton's gone out on loan now as well?
Yeah, brilliant. You know what I mean?
That's what it is. Chipping him again.
Dipping his toe in for Swindon, and then he needs to go out and play games for, you know what I mean, for these sides, because, like I said, you can't replicate that atmosphere when you're not playing it, when you're playing in a reserve game, or the intensity, you know what I mean, and the fans being there. And that's what I think it needs to happen. You send these players out on loan.
Ben, did you want to comment on this conversation as well?
Who?
Well, Ben.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, because I got distracted, that Harrison Minton has just gone back on loan to Chippenham. We're talking about loans. That's been announced. But, I'd like to have the combinations. I'd like to have the reserve team leagues back in a perfect world. I think it's the club's aim in the near future to have a development league. So I'll have a lot more youth players. I'm not wrong with these sort of young players like Massey joining us, because he needs games more than anything as well. He needs to run at games because he was really looking quite good at Plymouth. But yeah, it can't come quick enough. I miss reserve league games, you know, and some good players come from it. You know, players do shine, get regular games, get goals, and then just walk into the first team fit and ready and good to go. You know, there's no just giving them 20 minutes here or half an hour here. By the time they get back into the first team after an injury, they're good. They're good to go. You know, you don't have to just trial them back and let's see that, you know, it'd be great. But it's something for the future. It's going to be not too distant future as well, because it's going to happen. Fingers crossed. But in the meantime, we just got to put up with it and just send our loan players to non-league clubs.
Okay. There's one more thing that we need to discuss before we conclude for the evening. And it is the fact that, if we haven't mentioned it enough over the last week or two, there is a double header at the county ground tomorrow after Swindon Town versus Hartlepool. The women's team will be playing, I think it's around a 5:45 kickoff in the FA Cup. There's lots of talk at the moment about the logistics. I know Woody was on Monday and he was answering questions on things like parking and all the places that are open match day parking. They're staying open longer. I know there's been some concern, and I'm interested in your guys' thoughts on this. We got sent a couple of tweets from people saying they don't understand, if they've got season tickets in the Don Rogers stand, why they're not allowed to stay in the Don Rogers stand. They're being asked, like, they're trying to move everyone into the one stand. Now, I get it from a logistical perspective in terms of, that it's just the one stand to have security for, the one set of refreshments and that. But Nick, I'll come to you first. What's your thoughts? Do you think having fewer people in more stands is better, or everyone in one stand?
Probably one, or everybody in one stand makes sense, to be fair. Like you just said, if you're dotted around the ground in Don Rogers, the Town End, the Hartlepool, you've got to have people in there sort of monitoring it, stewards, etc., food outlets open, and that takes up staff. If everybody's together in one stand, hopefully you'll get a better atmosphere, because you've got people together, which is what we see at away games when all the Swindon fans are in one stand, basically most of the time in one stand, and you get a better atmosphere. So yeah, I can understand why they're doing it in one stand. So to me, it makes sense.
Ned, obviously we had Bryony on Monday, who spoke about what it means. And if you haven't had the opportunity, please do go back and listen to what Bryony and Beth had to say about what it means to the women's team to play at the county ground. If you're undecided about whether to stay or not, or you can't make the men's game, but you'd still like to go support the women, that opportunity there as well. Please do go back and listen to Monday's episode of what both the ladies had to say about it. And I think you will be convinced. But it is a big moment for them, isn't it, Ned? And one that they see that both Bryony and Beth seem confident on Monday, and it should be a good game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to hear people involved in the game to say that they think they're going to win like that, and not give the business response of giving them the, the respect and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, no, honestly, I know how much it means to her. It means a lot. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. And just with regards to the moving stand thing, it also gives people the chance. Let's just say, if you're hungry and you can't afford to pay 17 quid for a pasty, it gives you the chance to pop out and go and get yourself some chips or something, maybe something to drink, pop in the pub or whatever, and then go back in afterwards. So it can still be a non-logistical issue if you do said pop out and get some food from somewhere else. But oh, there we go. Confirmed 2 sources. Right, so yeah, I mean it's going to be a good game. They're going to put everything into it. They want as many people to stay there as possible. So everyone who seems to have gone so far has agreed that the standard is a lot higher than they actually thought it was going to be. So it would be really nice if as many people as possible can stay on and give it a view. So this doesn't cost you any extra, does it? So please do.
And they're really trying to make the atmosphere as best as they can, aren't they, Warren? I think I even saw that the FA Cup trophy itself is going to be there on the night as well.
Yeah, they're creating it, and this is what it's all about. I think we summed it up on the last pod. I think people are. If Swindon win tomorrow, the men's side, I think that would just give everyone that little bit of maybe just think, yeah, it'll be a massive rollover onto the women's game. And I think, that's what a lot of people will decide what they want to do from that. And, if we lose, most people will be down in the dribbles, or if we don't get the win, so people might think, oh, I want to stay. yeah, look, no matter what happens tomorrow, no matter how many people stay or how many people go, it is still a positive thing for the football club. For the women's side, it's brilliant. You know what I mean? So I hope we don't get too lumbered with, if it is a, you know what I mean, not as many people stay as they predict or whatever, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. It's still a real positive thing for the women's club. Yeah. And that no matter what happens, as long as they win, obviously, it's going to be it's really good for them, and it's going to be a great experience, brilliant for the club, and it just shows the commitment that we're going towards with the women's side.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We don't often do this, but as this is a shorter than usual episode, let's just fly round once again and ask you for some FA Cup predictions. Then you've predicted the first game in the doubleheader. Let's see what you think, how confident you are in the women's team to make it 2 wins from 2 on the night. Ben, a score prediction for the women's FA Cup game at the County Ground.
The women's will triumph 6-2.
6-2? My word.
I think there'll be goals. I think a big wide pitch, big open pitch, fans behind them, the girls will be up for it. I think Bolton are a league or 2 below.
2.
So, yeah, 2 leagues below. So I think Swindon, after putting a bit of a fight, will probably collapse most of the way through second half. I
mean, I questioned your 6-2, but then Mike's just thrown in an 11-2. Let's go to Ned next. Your score prediction, please.
Do you know what? I was going to say 6-2. I was just like, I was going to say 6-2. Okay, all right. Bryony's the centre back, so I have more confidence. 6-0.
6-1. Is Bryony going to get one?
No.
Has she scored yet? Is she?
I don't think she has. I don't. She may well have in the previous stint, but I don't think this stint she's crept up with a goal. Unfortunately.
She's due one then. She's saving it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Let's go to Nick next. What's your prediction, please?
Well, Ned's just done me in because I'm saying 6-0.
Sorry.
6-2.
And Ali Colston to score 4. And just while I'm on, another quick shout out. I see Claire's been on tonight with her comments. I know she's been a bit poorly early in the week, so hope you're feeling better, Claire, and hopefully see you Saturday. So
yeah, all the best.
Well done.
All the best.
And Wazza, score prediction.
Well, how confident the girls were, you know what I mean? I don't think we're chucking this scoreline around. You know what I mean? I would, they 4 or 5-0. I hope. You know what I mean? We've got to have confidence in Bryony at the back, haven't we, Ned? That's what you've said before, isn't it?
Fingers crossed.
I'm gonna throw win in and go lucky number 7. So I'll go 7-1 as a prediction, purely based on.
When I said 6.
Crucified Ben for that.
Everyone's got me so confident now. You're all going throwing big scores around. Everyone in the chat's throwing big scores around. So why not? You know.
Yeah.
And as I say, Beth and Bryony were very, very. They were very confident on Monday. So why not? Let's just hope that by the time we meet again Monday night, both Swindon Town sides have won at the County Ground on Saturday, and we've all got happy, smiley faces.
Happy.
Gents, thank you very much as always. I will just flash up the corporate artwork there, just because if us talking about it and tweeting about it and Facebooking about it isn't enough, maybe some artwork will remind people as well. Thank you very much. It is cold, it is wet, so thank you for choosing to spend your evening with me talking Swindon Town instead of going out doing anything probably more fun and entertaining. Yes, you can, Ned.
Thank you very much. Claire sent me a message a few moments ago, so Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's
what I'm saying.
Does anyone else want to thank Claire for anything or send a message to Claire? Now's your time. Everyone send something to Claire.
Get
She's
well
just-
soon,
she's
Claire.
Top
Get well
girl.
soon.
Love her loads. Top girl.
Top girl.
She will hate having this attention on her
She
as
will.
well.
Yeah.
It has to be said, actually, before we do go, it has to be said, I understand that the collection at Colchester went well as well. So congratulations to all involved in raising the money for the air ambulance, and to anyone who was able to contribute. Thank you very much. You know, it's a big gesture the way things are at the moment. So thank you very much from us, and obviously from those involved.
Mike's being very naughty.
Very, very naughty there, Mike. But no, honestly, chaps, thank you very much to everyone who's been watching on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Thank you for choosing us to hopefully entertain you for an hour or so on a Friday night. Let's bring home the 3 points. Let's get into the next round of the Women's FA Cup. And from Ben, from Wazza, from Nick, from Ned, and myself, everyone at Fools Rush In, have a wonderful weekend. We will see you again on Monday. Good night.
2-6-0.
Take my hands, take my whole life.